Hello, hello, magical souls. Happy Monday. Magical Monday it is. Um, I wanted to talk a little bit about entities today because I have so many people coming to me for Akashic Record readings, and then part of their problems are that they are quite feeling quite stuck, and they're not being able to move ahead in certain areas of their lives, and this seems to be like a repeating pattern. So sometimes it can be past life interference where we have, like a past life karma things coming up, blocks and things like that. And when we do an Akashic record reading, I can tell you what that problem is. But the other problem that can be coming up is like what we would call dark entities, dark energies. And I was lucky enough to book the lovely Lara Nani, who is a master at removing darker energies for herself and others. And the conversation, so we had a 2 hour workshop yesterday, which you can easily access. I will put you can access the recording. I'll put the information in the link below. So if you want to have a quick look at that, well, not quick, it's 2 hours, but it is a wonderful, wonderful introduction as to what entities can look like in our daily life, why they come about us, what are we doing to attract them in the first place, and then how to move out of that situation where we are continually attracting them. So it's just lovely the way Lara speaks about entities and helps us to understand that we don't need to be worried or afraid about these energies. We need to actually, in fact, turn the situation upside down and step back into our power because we are sovereign beings, because we hold the light in ourselves and we are channelers of light in general. That is who we are. That's what we are born to be. But when we come into this physical plane, we can't exist here. Well, we have to understand all the different elements that make up this dimension, this physical dimension, because we are always talking about the light, but we don't have light without dark, and we don't learn our lessons without the dark interfering and coming to us. So I'm just so overwhelmed by the lovely conversation we had yesterday. That's the very deep meditation to move things out of our vibration. And even if you just listen to the guided meditation, your life will change. And I woke up feeling so amazing today as well. So, yeah, I think one of the things that came up that's quite interesting is that when we have a difficulty in our lives, maybe we feel, Laura gave a great example. She has underlying public speaking fears. So, as she was starting the presentation, along comes a dark energy because it was drawn to a tiny bit of fear that she heard in her vibration when she was talking to us. And so she immediately called it out and said, um, you're here to distract me and to make the situation worse, but I want to actually send you love. And as soon as this entity heard that she wanted to send her love, it disappeared because it wasn't ready for the love vibration. So that's a different way of removing entities. We can remove them in many different ways. And one of them is to give them love. And then they either absorb that love and then are turned back to the light, because there's a little God spark in each of these dark entities. Because that's where they started off. They started off as sovereign. They started off as a child of God. And then something went wrong along the way, and they had a weak moment, and they were overwhelmed, and they were overcome maybe by grief or fear or pain, and then all of a sudden they turned to the darkness. And then we talk about like attracting like. So if you're in a moment where you're in grief, you're grieving for somebody, the loss of someone or something, you could have lost something, a job or a house or something, and you're in a moment of grief, then you can attract upon you entities that are like-minded with that energy. And then unfortunately, what happens is that kind of snowballs and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So all of a sudden, you started off with a molehill, and now you've got this mountain. And that can feel very heavy and oppressive. So you can feel like you can't get out of that space. And some people even say that it feels comfortable to be so oppressed. And it's difficult to then shake yourself out of that kind of depression, because it can feel comfortable on some level. And then the way we work with entities in that way is we say, right, instead of allowing them to feed off of our fear, our doubt, our worry, our shame, our guilt, we actually say, no, this is not going to happen anymore. We are now going to go back into the driving seat of our lives. We're going to be a channel for light, and we're going to move forward with this idea that we are sovereign. So I recommend the best way to do this is to say, for example, in the name of God. In the name of God, I'm going to drive to work. In the name of God, I'm going to have an amazing day. In the name of God, I'm going to make a beautiful meal. And I notice that when I'm saying those things, I have freedom from dark energies. They don't come upon me because they're not a natural match. Remember how all the people, all the famous people like Abraham Hicks, they're all explaining to us that our thoughts create things. So if you're thinking and saying, I'm worried about this and this and this, I'm so worried, how am I going to pay my bills at the end of the month? Then you're going to attract more negative energy that's going to make you even more fearful. And it's going to be even harder for you to get to that place where you can pay your bills at the end of the month. So this is why we turn it on its head and we say, actually, in the name of God, I have money. In the name of God, I have, it's my birthright to have money. In the name of God, I have enough money to pay my bills at the end of the month, to pay my mortgage, to do whatever I need to do. Okay, so think about that. And if you want more information, then certainly sign up for the workshop. It's very fun. It's a fun. We played a lot in the workshop. We had a lot of fun together, and it's a very serious subject. It's life changing, but at the same time, if you have a little bit of fun with it and step into your power, and I talk about how to step into your power and what does that mean in that workshop, then you're going to learn a lot about yourself and about what's going on around you. And you're going to learn a lot of interesting tools to help you live your best life. And I'm going to leave it there. I could talk forever on the subject, such an interesting subject, specifically because I've been in the dark. So I know what it's like to be in the light now. And I love being in the light. It's the best. Okay, so have a very magical rest of your day, and I will touch base with you on Friday. Take care.